This is a presentation of National Streaming Sports. Over 20 podcasters, 70 weekly shows, and a 3.4-star rating on Roku TV.
I don't know, Jack. It's a big decision.
I've often said that the people who run baseball, they try very hard to ruin it.
I'm from Brooklyn. I don't have a problem saying base.
Pittsburgh at Buffalo.
Thank you. I thought I was right. So anyway,
yeah, Mac, you're really interested in these playoffs.
so
This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
Good morning. You're listening to the Mac and Jack Sports Show on Northeast Streaming Sports.
All right, it's Friday, Jack. We made it to the end of our work week. You're here on the National Streaming Sports Morning Show. Mac and Jack, as we're here Monday through Friday. We also have a Saturday and Sunday show that we enjoy doing. We got our Sports Memory Show tomorrow at 8 a.m. And we also got the Big Football Show at Sunday at 8 a.m. And before I start, Jack, show everybody I did get my Russell Peltz book. Signed by Russell, $30 and a cut eye, 50 years of boxing. I can't wait to get on this thing, and going to be a great read. I know already, as I interviewed Russ about it. And I don't know if you got your copy or not, Jack.
Well, I got my copy. I don't. Where did I get it? I don't remember. I may have gotten it Amazon or whatever. But it's a great, great book. It's must read if you you like boxing, especially if you're a hardcore fan. It's must reading. Russell, a great Philadelphia promoter for decades, he kept all his receipts, everything, and he really gives a detailed account of Philadelphia boxing history. A lot of great stuff in it.
Well, you can go to russellpeltzboxing.com, get it directly from him, which, he's kind of promoting himself. As you said, Amazon also carries it. So at peltzboxing.com. I'm also, Jack, today going to meet our wrestling hosts from Turnbuckles and Stogies, which should be a lot of fun. The guys are a lot of fun. So I'm going to go meet them today. Maybe I'll take some pictures or a video. Maybe I'll even smoke a stogie. I don't know. We'll see what happens as I go out there.
I think you're located near the WWE offices in Connecticut.
It's down a way.
Why don't you just stop by there, Mac, and ask if we could have a few guests amongst the wrestlers on the show? I mean, you could just drop in. I'll know who you are.
I could, but they're coming, believe it or not, they're coming up. The hosts are coming up to see me. They're in town. They flow into, of course, they go to smoke shops and they go to cigar companies, and this is where they do their show sometimes. So I am going to be meeting them sometime today. So I'll be updating you all on that. So
I hope you have some backup, Mac, because you're not really a businessman in a true sense. So, I mean, you don't want these guys to pull their shade over you. No, not that they would. I mean, I'm sure they're honest guys, but you want some backup if you're going to negotiate a deal.
I got my producer coming with me, Jack. No fear. I got the business person backing me up, being with me, so I don't get carried away and just start, smoking cigars and drinking whiskey. And, you say I could be vulnerable when it comes to that. Good morning, Keith Angle from TGI Sports, and on with us every Friday. We're going to talk about one Olympic event I want to talk about first, and then we're going to jump over to a little bit. Two games we played last night, and the NCAA got tough with Jim Harbaugh. I can't wait to get to that. Anyway, last night, United States come from 17 points behind to beat Serbia. Finally, Steph Curry was only averaging 7.6 points per game, pours in 36, and LeBron gets a triple-double, and the United States come roaring back to beat Serbia in a very close game. They had a little foul trouble on the other side, which helped us climb back into it. But I always thought that the United States would beat them, and now they're going on to play France. What thoughts you got on that, Jack?
Oh, I thought you were talking to Keith. You referred to him. Okay, yeah, because this is Keith's segment, this half hour, but I'll take the lead.
Well, you take
20 minutes out of the first inning like a pitcher, So he came out of the bullpen earlier than I thought. A game the United States absolutely had to win. I mean, they kept talking about Serbia maybe being a threat, that they were going to show up for this game, even though they'd beaten them pretty easily the 3 times before. But did they really believe that? But when they got down 17 points, I mean, the U.S. team, they stepped up. Some of the greatest players of all time, Steph Curry playing the game of his life after you question him, Mac, how much he had left. LeBron being LeBron, Kevin Durant hitting some big shots. Bogdanovic, he was with the Knicks. They got rid of him. I mean, he could help an NBA team. If he could go against the elite teams, the elite players in the NBA on the biggest stage, the Olympics, and play the way he did, you mean to tell me he still couldn't be a force on an NBA team? You have certain players like Fournier, who Thibodeau wouldn't let get off the bench when he was with the Knicks, all of a sudden becoming a really top-of-the-line player for France during these Olympic Games and going against other NBA players doing it. So these Olympics, I mean, it's not just a great tournament, but I think it's a showcase for certain players who want to get back their former status in the NBA.
What do you think, Keith? I mean, listen, when you're playing on a team that you normally don't play on, that, believe it or not, is still a little bit below us, of course you're going to get the ball more. Of course you're going to play more. That only makes sense to me. But Jack is right. I mean, they did do their parts for their teams that are getting to the gold medal round here.
Look at this team. Anybody and people like to say, well, these millionaires, they don't care about winning gold medals. Well, I disagree. You saw then they could have just thrown up their hands and gone home in the middle of the fourth quarter. They were still down double digits with, 8-9 minutes left. But they started playing some defense. They didn't play much defense early on, I don't think, perimeter defense especially, and they got much more active on defense, which really ignited the offense. And you see that these guys care about winning. I think we found that the right coach is there. We discussed that a few times. And there is a lot of pressure. I mean, only 3 teams in U.S. history that I'm aware of have ever lost an Olympic gold medal, or not won an Olympic gold medal. Only one pro since the pros have been going. And one was stolen from us, obviously, in 1972. That's a whole different story.
I didn't mention Embiid, by the way, Keith. Embiid, you just mentioned a good point about players having pride. I think he had so much pride, he wasn't going to let Jokic get the better of him.
That fourth quarter, Joel Embiid really showed some pride, to use your word, Jack. On both ends of the court, he was playing out of his mind for about 5 or 6 minutes there in the fourth quarter. He had a couple of bad turnovers that looked like it might turn the momentum around again after that. But still, I agree 100%. This guy dug down deep, and I think they really do care about winning, and maybe it's just the pressure of not losing. We can't. Charles Barkley told him, "Don't come home if you don't win." But listen, I think they showed some great mettle yesterday, and it was fun to watch. It was a fun game to have on and watch yesterday.
So they got France next, guys, and you got Wembanyama. And you got, as Jack said, Fournier. Again, they're a good team. Serbia is a good team. But if the United States plays what it's capable of, again, 10 all-stars coming up, the bench, the starters, they should win it. It's not guaranteed, but just with their overall the quality and quantity, no other team has what the United States have.
No. And again, this is another wake-up call for them. We talked about them having wake-up calls coming in the preliminary games coming in, and it helped them early in this tournament. I think yesterday's game was a good wake-up call, and I don't think they, again, to use a cliche, you can't roll the basketball out and they're just going to win the game. anymore. The world has caught up at least that far. But there's still far better athletes, basketball players than overall than the teams that they're facing. And I think it's the same with France. And they should be able to take away Wemby and even Fournier, if you want to count him as a huge force, which he is in this international competition.
Right.
Nick's career aside, I think the U.S. will win. I don't think it'll be a walkover, but I think it might be a little easier than yesterday.
Yeah, I mean the right attitude. They finally got to play defense, as you said.
Yeah.
Well, don't forget Rudy Gobert for France.
That's
Between
true.
him and Wemby in the front line, they could create some problems for the
No doubt.
USA. Some real problems.
They
No
could.
doubt.
I was surprised they beat Canada. So that's they haven't played badly for sure.
No, they're very not surprised, right? France, as I said before, we're drafting all their players in the first round from France, so they got the quality basketball team in that country. There's no doubt about it. So let's get to the Patriots. They played last night, and I listen. Strike one against Gerard Mayo, in my opinion, and I'm gonna rip the Giants too. So be patient here. Listen, if you're gonna put your starting quarterback in the game and you're gonna let him play 3 plays, what the hell are you doing? I mean, why even bother? That's
He's not the
ridiculous.
start. First of all, he's not the starting quarterback. So back up. He's not the starting
Brissett
quarterback.
is not the starting quarterback.
Oh, Brissett. I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about Drake May.
No, he played three. He played
my
3
train-
plays. Yeah.
You'll see that in every game, though. You're going to
That's
see it.
ridiculous. Why are you doing it? Why are
I
you
don't
even bothered?
I agree. I've said 100 times these guys need to play more in the preseason, but you're going to see every team. Joe Burrow's going to go out there tonight and play 3 plays or one series.
From what I understand, there are starting quarterbacks that are going to play a full quarter. Patrick Mahomes, he says he's going a full quarter. I mean, listen,
let him do it.
Listen, if you're going to play him 3 plays, don't put him out there. That's just nonsense. Secondly, you brought up Mayo. If you're only going to play him 1 series, I don't know what he's thinking. If that's your second string quarterback, let him play for a quarter and a half. What are you doing? I mean, he's not going to play this year.
All you wanted to do with Drake May last night, they had a plan going into this. They were playing all 4.
The plan stunk, Keith. The plan
stunk. Joe Milton looked very good against really bad players.
Yeah,
but
listen, he was
they got a week of practice under them. Now, I'm a guy who wants these guys to play. I want the next 3 games or 2 games, I want them to play all the time. You got to see what guys have. And I think here, by the way, I think Bailey Zappi played as long as he did because I think they were showcasing him a little bit because he's not making his team.
Well,
so unless he's on the practice squad, I meant to ask you that next, Keith. Joe Milton has potential. The danger is if you play him a lot in the preseason and he's looking really, really good, there are going to be some whispers, maybe play him ahead of Drake May. Drake May's not going to be given the normal rookie slack when he eventually gets in, probably late in the season. And you never know, this could be another situation of RG3 and Kirk Cousins. RG3 was the highly drafted guy, number 2 overall. Cousins went in the 4th round. Cousins ultimately was the quarterback of that team. You might have a similar situation here in New England.
It could hash out that way. I mean, Drake May is going to get his chance before that happens. But, the whispers are already there. Joe Milton's been the best quarterback in camp so far, by far. But that doesn't mean he's going to play.
And Keith, Drake May didn't look interested. He didn't get in there fired up. He's like, just walks in. I've watched everything, Keith. I'm watching body language. He's up there. He's kind of smiling. He's not getting in the huddle. Let's go, guys. I mean, nothing. No fire at all.
I watched Eli Manning play for 12 seasons the same way and won 2 Super Bowls.
Let me tell you something. Do not compare Drake May to Eli Manning. Please.
I'm comparing his demeanor.
Listen, I'm telling you, he did not look interested. He looked, yeah, man, I'm playing. You gotta show some fire. Eli wasn't fighting for a job, Keith. He was just gonna be the starter. Drake May may be fighting for a job before it's all said and done.
I can't believe I'm even getting my blood pressure up this much over preseason game 1.
guys, there's always this danger. I understand what Mac is saying. There's always this danger when you have a highly drafted quarterback who you plan to sit for the whole year, the first year, carry the clipboard and learn. If the starter gets injured what do you do with them? All of a sudden, your highly rated quarterback, highly drafted quarterback, he has to start. He's thrown in. Sometimes it works out. It worked out with Justin Herbert. When Tyrod Taylor was the starter, Herbert was supposed to carry the clipboard for a year. Before the first game, Herbert's thrown in suddenly and was a big success. We don't know how that's going to play out. What happens if Jacoby Brissett gets injured? Does Drake May have to all of a sudden be the starter and play? And if you look at the guys behind them, are you going to start Zappe ahead of him? Let's say you started Joe Milton ahead of him by some chance and Milton plays well. Now you really have a major problem.
That's true. I mean, and they might bring a veteran, and Brian Hoyer might be back again. Who knows? He was doing a game last night. They had like 5 guys calling a game last night. That was also.
I don't think Zappe gets cut, Keith. I think he would be on the practice squad sooner than being traded away.
I don't think he can make the team. I really don't. But
they put him on waivers. They put him on waivers last year. Nobody claimed him. I'll tell you. Listen, now let's get to the Giants. I'd claim him in a minute.
Yeah.
What kind of backup quarterback do we have there? He stinks. Drew Lock stinks. He just stinks. They went out with all the backup quarterbacks they could have got. They could have went after Joe Flacco. They could have gone after Tannehill. They go and they get this idiot that the guy is wide open. Keith, you could have made the throw. Here goes Malik Neighbors, blows right by him. He's in a pocket. He doesn't even look at him. And then he gets a little pressure and he runs out to the right. I mean, listen, this guy, I don't know. He stunk for Denver. Seattle didn't play. He played by accident by Seattle and rolled out. Phil Simms called it correctly. Every time he gets pressured, he rolls out to the right. Everybody in the league knows it. So they all roll with him. And he can't. Are you kidding me? Please put Brian Zappe or Milton on waivers. Please do one or the other. I'll take either one. Get rid of Drew Lock.
Well, Milton's not going on waivers. Zappe, maybe not Milton.
I will give the Patriots a 3rd round draft choice right now next year for Milton. How's that?
Hey, I'll make that deal right now.
They drafted him, I think, in the 6th round. Was it, Keith? He's a 6th round pick.
He was picked
You would go from a 3rd to 6th. That's intriguing. That means Milton's had to look really, real good in camp. Wow, that was I saw the Patriots offered that.
Realistically, nobody's doing that.
I would. I know Shane won't. Shane's another. Shane, I don't know what he was thinking of picking up Drew Lock. And let me tell you, I have problem with the ball too. If my quarterback's going to fight with defensive linemen on other teams in a practice, put him in a game. Let him play. What are you doing? Are you kidding me? You're gonna allow him to fight Detroit Lions defensive lineman, but you're not going to put him in the game.
Did he play at all last night? He didn't play at all, right?
Not at all. No. I don't get it. I don't get it. He was hurt all last year. He needs to get on going again. If you're going to start this guy, he's got to get something going. You're going to wait till the 3rd game and play him for a quarter and that's it? What are you doing? What are these guys doing? It took Danny Dimes to lead us to a couple down the fields, plays to get us in the end zone.
We talk about this all the time that these games are just, they play them to keep guys healthy to get the game won. They aren't playing these games to get ready to win games in September, and it's wrong. It's the wrong approach.
Oh my God, Herman Edwards was on. He's like, "Are you kidding? You're going to play Drake May, who's your future for one." And the Giants with they
want him to get his feet wet, just get out there in a little competition. It's a meaningless game. Come on, it's
not meaningless, Jack. It's not a meaningless game. No. This is your future quarterback.
They don't count. I mean, to Jack's point, they don't count, but they're not meaningless. I mean, the Patriots, as bad as they look, they won. Getting used to winning is important. I mean, getting that winning feeling means something again, but you need to play. I need to play. If Jacoby Brissett's my starter, I would have played him at least a quarter last night myself. I knew what the plan was. I already knew what the plan was going in, so I didn't get mad. That's what I expected.
Well, I listen. You give him a quarter, you give Drake May a quarter, you give Zappy a quarter, you give Milton a quarter. Everybody's happy, and you eventually. I mean, Bryce Young. I guess he led the Panthers to a championship last year because he didn't have to play at all. So he must be all set. He was great last year.
I don't know what injury situations are with a lot of
there's no injury.
Look, Aaron Rodgers might not even play in the preseason.
He's old,
not playing the first two games.
He's old.
Game, he might just come in for a couple of series. So
he still needs to play. I mean, I don't care how old he is. You still need cohesiveness in your offense. Biggest problem for the Patriots last night, and maybe it was because of moving to quarterbacks, playing 4 quarterbacks. Their offensive cohesiveness was awful. And if they were looking to showcase Bailey Zappi last night, it was a horrible showcase because he played terrible. So
he played a lot better than your starting 2 quarterbacks did, Keith. A lot better than them.
Drake May was 2 for 3. I mean, that's fine. I mean,
Drake May was 2 for 9. Jake May was 2 for 9 for like 30 yards.
You obviously didn't watch the game then. He was in 3. Come on, stop it.
He threw 3 passes. You're all right. You are.
Yes.
He played for 9 plays. Sorry.
Okay, that's fair.
The fans felt the same way. They were booing when Drake May didn't come in, but he was just getting his feet wet. You shouldn't be upset about anything that he did.
This game was about unwatchable last night anyway. The best part of it was the McCourty twins doing the game with Scott Zolak. I had a lot of fun listening to those guys. Other than that, the game was about unwatchable.
Oh, my God. I don't know. And Gerard Mayo, it's up to my offensive coordinator. What are you talking about? You're the head coach. You're a rookie head coach. Get it right, dude. It's your first time in a competition. Get it right, Gerard Mayo. Get it right.
I keep it happens week 1. I want them to play these guys, but all I care about is a real game week 1.
I listen. You know, I do know a little bit about football. This stuff is important. These guys' jobs are on the line. You got bubble players. You got rookies. You got rookie wide receivers. You got to get your timing down. That did nothing.
But those are the guys that were playing. You want those guys to get time. That's the guys who are playing. The bubble guys are the guys that are playing.
Yes, this is what they need. But you had a quarter. What I'm saying, Keith, is for that amount of series, that nothing. And I'm just as pissed as the Giants.
But you're arguing both sides that the starters need to play, but the bubble guys need to play. You can't do both.
This philosophy stuff could go on the whole hour.
It could. But let me tell you something. Keith. There's 4 quarters. That's all I'm saying.
True.
True. That's all I'm saying.
Are we sure there might be a rule change before tonight? I don't know. Maybe we're only playing 3 quarters now. I don't know.
There might be. Jim Harbaugh.
Because by the way, as a side note, last night was the first time I saw the kickoff rule in live and in person, and I thought to myself, how drunk were the guys that drew this thing up? I mean, are you kidding me? I really never. It looks stupid. It is the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Well, it is. It is what it is, Keith. We're going to make rules every year, no matter what. So,
anyway. we need to do drug testing on the people before they put these rules in. How about that?
Okay, that sounds good. So, Jim Harbaugh gets punished by the NCAA 4 years.
Air quotes, punished.
Excuse me. 4 years. He can't, if he comes tries to come back to college, he can't be in for 4 years. Are they going to show why he should be in the college? It's a show to play or to coach.
Because he's suspended. He's suspended for 1 year, and there's a 4-year show cause where he'd have to show cause why he should be allowed back in. He's never going back. It doesn't matter. It's a toothless penalty. He's never going back. The rest of the guys there will take the brunt of whatever comes down from the NCAA.
That I wanted to ask you too, Keith. What do you think is going to come down on Michigan for what Jim Harbaugh and his crowd of illegal aliens did there?
The NCAA has been the last decade. They've been trying to move away from punishing players for coaches' transgressions, right? Plus, they only have so much they can do. They can't take away the national championship. They don't even have anything to do with it. It's 2 separate entities. The NCAA has nothing to do with crowning a champion. Nothing. So they can't do that. They can, and now they've got Sherrod with deleting text messages and whatever else.
Yeah.
I think they'll probably come down on this team just because they want to. And the NCAA, this is my problem here. It's selective prosecution, and it always is, because other teams are doing this. We talked about the Georgia thing, and I know Rick Sherlock got mad at me because he's a Georgia guy, and I stick up for Harbaugh, but I'm ripping Kirby. I'm not ripping Kirby. I'm saying they need to have a little more institutional control. Which things are more important, right? Stealing signals, which it does affect games, or guys being reckless off the field and getting killed and arrested and everything else. I mean, we're comparing apples and oranges. You can't compare the two situations, was my point. I think the NCAA would like to come down hard on Michigan because they've got everything they need to do it. And I think there'll be maybe some. I hope they don't punish the players by not letting them play in postseason. Because that's punish the coaches, and the school.
Yeah, listen, I agree. I mean, but it's a history. Pete Carroll, USC gets in trouble. This coach leaves, and this team gets in trouble.
There's a lot of guys in front of the posse in the history of college sports, for sure.
There's no doubt. So let's get back to the Olympics. Pretty interesting. Noah Lyles grabs a bronze medal. And at the end of the race, it was revealed that he had COVID. So he had to be taken in a chair and wheeled away, because he was totally exhausted. Good side, bad side. Good side, a lot of, you are competing at a high level with COVID and still take bronze. Bad side, why are you competing at all if you have COVID? You're right. I mean,
yeah, there'll be two sides of his argument. How heroic he is going out there knowing he had COVID and still tried to win. He still performed pretty well to get a bronze. And there'll be people saying, well, you're putting other people at risk and whatever. And COVID, listen, I don't want to get into a whole COVID debate, but COVID's basically, it's like having any other flu now. Yes, there's not even any quarantines or anything else. There's no protocols anymore for COVID. You're kind of on your own. So again, he hasn't officially ruled himself out of the 4x400 relay race tonight. I don't think. He said he was probably out, but he didn't definitely rule himself out. So obviously, the Olympics don't have any calls for COVID now either. So
winning time was 19.45 for the 200. It was a beatable time, but it's still a strong time. Even if Noah Lyles, who ran in 1970, was 100%. It's not a guarantee he would have won the gold medal. A little more likely than not, he would have, but there is some doubt there because it was still a strong time he would have had to beat.
Yeah, and it was important to him. He would have put himself up there kind of, on the Simone Biles level, because guys don't win the 100 and 200 in the same year that often. And he would have been in the stratosphere. People are still going to remember this 100 meter dash more than anything because of that great finish. But I think this story will go away fairly quickly.
Well, you want to hear the funny thing? It's supposed to be a foot race. And Noah Lyles' foot was the third foot to cross the line in the 100 meters. His torso was first. So if you talk about who won the foot race, if this were baseball, it's the foot that gets to the base, not the torso. Certain sports, it's, your foot, your hand, whatever. But, listen, getting a bronze medal was real good under that circumstance. Knowing he had COVID, knowing he was sick, didn't have to run, he gave it a go. And you could tell something was really wrong with him at the end of the race. He was like exhausted and lied down and really had nothing left when it was completely over. United States track and field team, they've been doing phenomenal. I mean, even the other day in the steeplechase to take a silver medal against the Kenyans, Ethiopians, that's like unheard of. That was insane. Getting a bronze medal, in the 10,000 meters, winning the gold in the 1,500 meters, gold and bronze. I mean, track and field, women's long jump gold medal. The United States team has been phenomenal, really, the track and field team.
It's always one of my favorite sports to watch in the Summer Olympics anyway. I like the track and field a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
gold medal in the hurdles yesterday.
You had Sydney Levrone. Gets the gold
400
medal.
meters women's finals. She set a world record in the process.
And Tamara Woodhall is the one that added the gold in the long jump. So, I mean, as Jack said, track and field's doing real good. The women basketball team, after winning her 59th consecutive game, is moving on to play Australia for the gold. Again, I mean, I know Australia is competitive, but again, that should be, I don't think they'll have much problems with Australia.
They'll have an easier time than the men have with France, I would say.
I would think so.
You know, the men's team has a lot of interest. I think their finals game. I mean, because there's so much NBA talent there too. It's not like just the United States against France. It's the American NBA All-Stars against Wemby, you know, Gobert. They're going, you know, so it has that NBA feeling.
I agree. But I know the WNBA has experienced a raise in popularity. So I think they'll be probably getting more views than they ever had too. So as far as going into this
WNBA, I don't think they've created too much interest during these Olympics. I just haven't.
I don't think so either.
I don't know. I think they might have. I haven't looked at the views, but I think they're probably viewed more than they have been in the past, just because they've been playing when nobody else is playing, and of course, you know, all the controversies they've had.
Well, so then if they wanted views, they should have sent Caitlin Clark, because she's still the one creating all the views.
We've been talking about this till you know the cups runneth over. They didn't, and you know they picked their team the way they did, and I still think that they probably have more views than they ever had, just because of the WNBA.
I said they would have had more. If that's what they want, if that's what's important. They want to pick the best team, and they don't think she fits. That's fine. That's right.
The ironic thing about it is she would have fit in nicely with the best players in the WNBA based on what she could do on the court.
Yeah,
that's the ironic part about it.
Yeah, she can sit out there and take 3-pointers all night. I mean, so yeah.
And listen, I say the same thing for Angel Reese. I think she would have been a nice little addition, coming off the bench for rebounds and putbacks. She's an aggressive, good player, but they didn't do that, right? So they went with the older players, like the NBA pretty much did, right? It's for Anthony Edwards. So I mean, that's their choice. Carlos talks about Tatum not playing that much. You know, I don't know.
Did they win the game, or did I miss? They did win the game, right?
I mean, you know, again, this is what people look at players. I look at teams more than players. I always
off the court. You got to take somebody off the court. So who would you take off the court at the end of that game? I wouldn't have taken any of those guys off the court that were playing at the time.
Yeah. So Carlos is just mad at the Olympics. Period. I mean, he's like me with preseason games. He's just mad. He's just mad about.
Carlos is mad.
He's just mad about that. That's for sure. Anyways, so let's get to a little. And by the way, the United States beat Nigeria to move on to Australia. Let's talk a little MLB. Grady Sizemore, named interim coach of the Chicago White Sox, surprisingly after they fired their manager, who was 69 and 101 last year and has a 21 game losing streak this year. Pedro Grifol is
wait. They didn't fire him when he lost 21 in a row, but as soon as he wins a game, they fire him.
Yeah,
I guess they wanted him to go out a winner. I don't know.
I think the idea was to lose all the games the rest of the season. So they're on a pace. Let's not forget, they're on a pace right now for 123 losses or 124, somewhere in between with the math, which would be the record is 120 by the hapless expansion Mets. I think they're going to get it.
I think so too. They're not.
They ought to pay Grady Sizemore $10 million for the rest of this year to have to watch that team play for the next 2 months.
Isn't that? Well, there you go. Grady Sizemore. There's a name from the past. So they'll be deciding on their real manager at the end of the season. They said, I imagine there'll be a lineup wanting to get a manager job with Chicago. We'll see, because that's
they'll be. Please hire me.
Yes. Let's see. Our old reliever for the Yankees, Chapman, throws out 104.7 mile per hour fastball. Manny Machado just looked at him and smiled, and Chapman smiled back at him. I mean, that was just, what do you do with that, right? A bunt. I guess you bunt that. I don't know.
Bunt. That's remarkable.
All the Yankees are doing well. I think Pittsburgh has Connor Falefa now. He came from Toronto. Yep. Connor Falefa's having a very good year. I mean, the Yankees could have used him this year. So, you never know. Some of these former Yankees, Miguel Andujar with the Oakland Athletics, he's having a really good year. So maybe some of these guys, you just kind of wait them out and let them straighten themselves out in time.
Well, I guess. I mean, if you think you got a better player that you can bring up than Kalefka or one of the other ones.
In fairness, they gave Andujar a lot of chances. I mean, they did give him a lot of chances, but
yeah, they
never worked out.
did.
His rookie year was still his best year.
Carlos wants to move the White Sox team. Okay, where are we moving them to, Carlos?
Moving to New York, you'll have another team to complain about, Carlos.
There you go. There you go. I mean, why would you move up from Chicago? I mean,
There has been talk.
I kind of sometimes wonder if you traded a whole team for a whole team, hypothetically. Let's say make believe you traded the White Sox for the Yankees. Just make believe. Let's have that fantasy. And the White Sox played in New York full time at Yankee Stadium. Would they really have lost 21 in a row? You'd think just the atmosphere would make them be just a little better. And they'd lose maybe 18 to 21 instead of 21 in a row. Just,
No, I would never think of that. And no, I don't agree with that. So
yeah,
Nashville, that's Carlos. Carlos wants to move the White Sox to Nashville White Sox.
To give Carlos a little props, there has been talk about the White Sox moving if they don't get a new stadium, and Nashville is one of the places. Nashville's going to get the next MLB's franchise, whether it's somebody that moves or if they do something stupid like expand again.
So we know. So now we know why the owner wants them to lose. He wants out of Chicago.
No, Jerry Reinsdorf is a Chicago guy all the way. I mean, unless he sells the team straight out, they're not going to move to Nashville.
He's not a young man anymore either. They may look to sell that team. So
yes, and Carlos, well, I don't know. I guess I don't know. You don't coach a baseball team, Carlos. You manage them. We've had this discussion many, many times. Carlos mixes these coaches and managers up all the time. Yes, he does. Anyway, so let's see. As I said, Chapman did that. NFL games tonight, guys. We got Atlanta at Miami. You've got Houston at Pittsburgh. You'll probably see Fields playing in that one. Philadelphia at Baltimore. You'll probably see. Well, you will see Pickett tonight playing for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's a Penn State, Philadelphia guy, played there 4 years, for Pitt. And I don't know. I don't think Pickett's that good. I just don't. So I don't know. Yeah.
Well, he's good as a backup. I mean, Jalen Hurts. He's a confident backup.
I'm unlikely to turn any of these games on tonight, quite frankly. I mean, I watch.
If I'm Russell Wilson and I'm out and Justin Fields is getting the chance, I wouldn't dread it. Let Justin Fields get his chance first, and then you'll see that he's not the guy for the Steelers. Not that he can't be a competent NFL quarterback in time, but he's not going to come up and light it up and turn heads. And this way, the Steeler fans get it out of their system, because for Russell Wilson, as soon as he starts struggling a little bit, everyone in Pittsburgh's going to call for Justin Fields like he's the savior, and he's not. I mean, people don't get that. So if I'm Russell Wilson, play the darn guy ahead of me, because that means I'm going to get in anyway during the season when you see he's not all that he's made out to be.
The only backfire of that is is that Justin Fields runs for 100 yards and throws 3 touchdown passes. Then what do you do, Jack?
Right. He's not going to do that.
Listen, I don't think
not that good. There's a reason they didn't get a high draft choice. There's a reason teams want line up for Justin Fields. He's been in the league for 3 years. We know what he can do. It doesn't mean he can't improve.
He can do more than Russell Wilson at this point.
But his ceiling is limited, and people don't get that.
Well, I don't. Go ahead.
Russell Wilson hit his ceiling 5 years ago. He's on a path down. Fields is probably on a pace still up, and he's going to be the quarterback here at some point.
In 2 years from now, Pittsburgh's going to be looking for another quarterback. In 2 years, if not next year, in 2 years.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, listen, Stewart wasn't a great quarterback either, and they still went to the playoffs, and I think they even went to the championship with him.
Championship game the first year the Patriots won a Super Bowl. Yeah.
Yes, well, I mean, he wasn't a great quarterback either, Jack. So I mean, it depends what he gives them. Listen, there's one thing about the Pittsburgh Steelers I know: they know how to get a lot from their players. They really do. They may not have the most talented team out there, but guess what? They're going to battle you to the end, and that team is well coached, and he knows what he's doing. I mean, listen, I think Russell Wilson starts the whole year. I really do. I think he does. Maybe not. We'll see what happens. But I think Justin Fields, Jack, is untapped. Chicago does not know what to do with quarterbacks. They have never known what to do with quarterbacks. I don't know about this new head coach. We'll find out. I wouldn't be surprised if Caleb Williams ends up being like Justin Fields. Wouldn't be surprised. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Wait a minute. Back up. You went from saying a few weeks ago he would be the biggest bust in NFL history.
Yeah.
Justin Fields is not the biggest bust in NFL history. Far from it. So
he's up there. He's up there, Keith. He's up there.
So Justin Fields went something like number 11 overall in the draft. Justin Fields, the jury's still out on him.
Right.
That's the best way of putting it, okay?
I'll tell you.
If a guy's been a quarterback for 3 years in the league and the jury's still out on him, chances are he's not going to take off. Now, I'm being a little hypocritical. I think Sam Darnold is going to have a good year for the Vikings. He's been in the league 6 years. Darnold was number 3 overall in the draft. There is potential, and if you've been in the league long enough, sometimes you tend to take off, but it's rare. Geno Smith was a rare case where a guy took off late on in his career.
For one season, by the way.
There's a pattern here. We're talking about jet quarterbacks again. It always goes down this road when we start talking about quarterback. Listen, Justin Fields has a lot more talent running. He's a better athlete than any of your quarterbacks before, Geno Smith or Sam Darnold. And I'm going to tell you right now, Jack, to me, Justin Fields will be a starter. If not with Pittsburgh, he's going to be a starter one day.
He's going to get a chance to be a starter again at some point. He's going to get in as a starter and have a chance to win a job. More likely than not, it's going to be with the Steelers. I think this year he'll get his opportunity at some point. Whether he runs with it or not, I don't know. I mean, I have a feeling Russell Wilson's not going to have the job all year because as soon as they struggle, but then again, Mike Tomlin's very smart. He sees what's going on. He knows whether Justin Fields would be ready or not.
I would imagine.
I got to pop out, but I think I agree with Mac finally this show. It took me 42 minutes, but I agree with Mac. So
thank you, Keith. Keith, TGI Sports Talk up right after us on the Roku channel. Stay with us. Thanks again, Keith.
Hey, guys, have a great day.
All right,
take care.
So anyway, so it's going to be interesting. They'll be talking about this, Keith. The problem with this, Jack, is that Justin Fields has a shadow, right? Anytime Russell Wilson has a bad game or the Pittsburgh Steelers, even if they win and he plays bad, they're going to be calling for Justin Fields. I guarantee it. And that's the problem of having a player behind Russell Wilson like this.
Well, I'm going to tell you what works in Justin Fields' favor. He seemed to be liked by the players in Chicago. They seem to gravitate towards him, and that's very, very important because Russell Wilson has a reputation of being kind of distant with his teammates. He had that reputation at Seattle, not so much at Denver, as he did at Seattle. Like he wasn't kind of detached. And when there was a scuffle during one of the scrimmages with Justin Fields and other players, his players rallied around him on offense. They were ready to fight for him. So you don't know what the feeling is in the locker room. If the feeling is they'd rather play for Justin Fields than Russell Wilson, believe me, the coaches take note of that.
Yeah,
I agree. That would work in his favor. And like you said, he is a great running quarterback. So any quarterback who could run in the league can use his legs to survive. So he's usually not going to get overwhelmed. But I just think his upside is limited. People are going crazy like they want Justin Fields in there, like he's going to be the Steelers franchise quarterback. And again, if he were that good, the Bears would have gotten more than a third-round draft choice. They got a fourth-rounder that could turn into a third-rounder.
Yeah, but if you think about it, look what they did for Caleb Williams. They went out and got three. They got 3 quality wide receivers there right now, plus a good running back. They didn't do that for Russell. They didn't do that for Justin Fields. They didn't do that for him. They pretty much said you're on your own.
CJ Moore was there.
Yeah, but they didn't.
Justin Fields. Well, yeah, they're drafting there. Well, they're doing it. They're trying to make Caleb Williams' job a lot easier, get him the right weapons and all. That's it's part of it was this too. Why the Bears moved on from Justin Fields after next season. They would have had to deal with Justin Fields' contract. He'd no longer be on the rookie contract. Are you prepared to give a guy like Justin Fields elite quarterback money?
That's a great question.
You're losing him if you franchise him. Now with Caleb Williams, the rookie deal starts all over again. They can't even address Caleb, even if they wanted to. The Bears cannot address Caleb Williams' contract situation for at least 3 years, 4 years. 100%. He's under that contract for 4 years, Caleb Williams. So they reset the rookie deal, and it has implications on the cap.
100% right, Jack. Steelers wanted to make Fields the starter of the deal. Russell Wilson, when that Russell Wilson deal was made way before Justin Fields' deal was made.
Yeah.
So that's that. And you listen, I agree with you. I think you're right, CJ. I think Russell is a starter this year, unless he really screws up or gets hurt.
And for those who think he's going to be the starter, just in closing, remember 1 year ago what the Steeler quarterback room was? Kenny Pickett, their first-round draft choice, Mitch Trubisky, who a lot of people thought would win the job, and the kind of incumbent backup Mason Rudolph.
Right.
They had to have 3 guys, and you figure one of them is going to would be the starter a year later. All 3 of them are gone. Trubisky went back to Buffalo. Mason Rudolph, maybe he's going to get a shot. He's the backup at Tennessee to Will Levis. Maybe he gets to play. And Pickett's the backup to Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia.
And that
who knows, 1 year from now, Wilson and Fields might not even be on the Steelers a year from now, for all we know.
Well, it just goes to show you Pittsburgh Steelers had 3 backup quarterbacks fighting for the starting job. And I could see that. Anyway, Jack, let's talk a little bit about DK Metcalf, right? DK Metcalf is a very temperamental guy. Well, they're at the practice. And Seattle Seahawks, if anybody watches, you should watch Coast to Coast with Bo Pags and McLovin. Seattle, they were fighting at every turn with each other, Jack. So DK Metcalf takes off his helmet, starts swinging at his own teammate. I mean, what are you doing? That's a new head coach. I mean, listen, dude, if you can't control your own players at practice, and swinging helmets is a little different than pushing and shoving and wrestling. I mean, come on, what are you doing? You better pull these guys in line. That is totally undisciplined. Totally undisciplined.
Yeah, well, you think of something. Myles Garrett got suspended for 4 games for during a game swinging his helmet at Mason Rudolph. 4 games. I thought it was too severe. And you know me, I'm all for giving these steep penalties and discipline. I thought it was way too severe, okay? But what is the difference, Mac, if you're swinging on a guy with your helmet at practice or in a game? You could hurt him the same way.
Yeah, of course.
But why they would? What's going on at Seattle? I'm not sure. We don't talk about Seattle as far as playoff implications. We don't talk about them as being one of the worst teams either, because they're in a transition. Pete Carroll's not there for the first time in ages. Done a new coach, a new regime. Geno Smith might be at the end of the line as, the Seattle quarterback. DK Metcalf, how interested is he really in playing for Seattle now? And for Seattle, they might be one of the worst teams in the NFL before it's over. They might really be taking a fall this year.
Listen, it's a good point. They have a new offensive coordinator there. They got a new head coach there. I mean, listen, the hardest thing to do is to get their veterans, right? I mean, the rookies are going to play, and the guys that are on the team are on the bubble. They're going to play hard, guaranteed. They want to be in the NFL. It's the veterans you got to worry about. It's the Lockett's, it's the DK Metcalfs, or whatever your veterans are, the leaders on that team. And they got some personalities. I mean, they can make your job a nightmare if you don't get a tight ring around these guys right away. And I think a lot of coaches come in, Jack, especially if they're coming from college. It's a different game. It's not rah-rah anymore. It's a business. These guys are big personalities, and you got to get them corralled right away. You've got to tell them what it is.
And it takes a special type of coach to establish control. He doesn't care who the player is. It's going to be done his way. Yes. And the players really don't have the leverage that people think they are. A lot of the problem is the media and the public. They create a narrative where they put the coach and the ownership as well under a lot of pressure. I mean, you take a case like a CeeDee Lamb, for example, Ayuk, the 49ers. These guys, in reality, don't have the leverage. What are they going to do? They're going to hold out? Let them hold out. Tell them, stay home for all I care. You're not going to get paid. And if you don't perform well when you rejoin the team, no one's going to pay you your money next year. They got no leverage, these players. But you make them think they have leverage by giving in to them. The media and the public, they criticize the coaches. Oh, we need this guy. We need that guy. Listen, I would make an exception in my attitude to a well-established veteran, a guy who's been a great citizen, who's always bought in. I would, give him some slack. But not certain of these other prima donnas, I would give them no slack at all. Let them stay home. You know what I'd do if a player's not listening to me in practice? I'll put him with the third team if he's a star player. That's who he's going to practice with. I demote him. And if he shows an attitude, he's in the practice squad. And guess what? Week 1 of the season begins. He's watching the game from the stands.
You can
because
do that.
He has an attitude issue.
Jack, you definitely could do that. And that's the type of coaches that they get when a team is out of control. They go back and they grab the old school coaches. To me,
not many of them around, Mac.
To me, I mean, like for example, I'm trying to remember his name now. The Eagles defensive coordinator, Vic. I can't remember his last name. Fangio. That's an old school coach. Eagles defense broke down. They gave up, sort of. And then Dallas goes out and gets the Minnesota head coach that played with Parcells as their defensive coordinator. I'm trying to remember his name too. I got a brain freeze right now. But they pick him up, another old school guy. And these are teams that were competing last year, but they just don't have that at the end of the game, at the last game of the season. They don't have that want. They don't have that will to win the game. And that's what an old school coach does.
But part of it too, but part of the problem, getting back with DK Metcalf, would be these players do want to win. They do have pride. I mean, it's human nature. Even if you're getting a great paycheck, to go out every Sunday and lose games, it's depressing. I mean, they want to win. They want to have a chance, at least, to go to the Super Bowl. The games to mean something to them. And if DK Metcalf could say, "There's no way we're going to the Super Bowl."
But the problem, Jack, the problem is they want to be the highest paid receiver in the league too. You can't always have it both ways, man. You can't, being on a team that's not winning and you're maybe one of its best players, which DK Metcalf is, you can't want 25, 30 million a year and want to go to you can't have it both ways. That's life. I'm sorry. You can't have it both ways, man.
It's a little different with a receiver. You want to be on the same page with a quarterback. It's very important to have a quarterback who you have great chemistry with, who could get you the ball. I mean, that's really vital to these guys.
All right. There we got Nathan Schmidt on. He agrees.
Wait. We beat up the topic.
I know we did, but I'm gonna bring him in. He's gonna have a new show on the network, Jack. Very knowledgeable guy. Used to be about safety and sports writer, but he's got his press coverage coming up. Great college football show will be on later. Listen, I agree to a point that Russell Wilson is not what he was. All right. I agree.
He was on the Steelers. He was on the Broncos for 2 years.
He's a lot better than Kenny Pickett. A lot better than Kenny Pickett. And they went to the playoffs last year and put a good showing on. Russell Wilson is 3 times Kenny Pickett. And Justin
getting
Fields,
paid is more important than getting a ring, CJ.
yes,
Getting
yes,
paid is more important than winning a championship.
it seems that way, Jack. Unless you're a really good quarterback like a Patrick Mahomes that is smart enough to take less money now, make it up later. I think it's 8 years down the road. He restructured his contract.
He's getting a fortune. He makes it up in endorsements. So that
Well, not only that,
not
Jack.
make Patrick Mahomes.
If you look at his contract restructure, which I know you didn't because I did, 2013 to like 2016, he's the highest paid quarterback in the league. There's no doubt, all guaranteed. Check out his contract. He's a very smart man. He's not going to just play for nothing. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about. We got about 4 minutes left. Eli Manning comes up for induction next year. Jack, is Eli Manning a first ballot Hall of Famer?
I'm not sure. Let's see who's on the ballot. I'm not sure all the names on the ballot, But in recent years, if you look at some of the names who've gotten into the Hall of Fame, it's a little questionable. So working in Eli Manning's favor is this: 2-time Super Bowl winner. His consecutive game played streak, he had a long durability streak that's ran the NFL.
Right.
And yeah, Eli Manning, he's not one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, not even close. I mean, look at the guys he was drafted with: Ben Roethlisberger and Philip Rivers. You'd have to rate Roethlisberger ahead of Eli Manning.
Why?
You'd have to.
Why?
Well, he went to 3 Super Bowls and won 2, Roethlisberger.
Right. Well, Eli went to 2 and 1.
But he's better than Eli, but Roethlisberger was better than Eli.
Wait, why? I'm
Eli
just asking
also
I'm asking
had
you
like a 500 record or so with the Giants during the regular season.
Yeah, but that's the team you're on. But in the biggest games against a great team, he won twice. They made the plays, Jack. It has something to do with fame too, Jack. That's why Joe Namath is in the Hall of Fame.
I would vote right. Well, Eli Manning's not nearly as famous as Joe Namath was.
He's a lot better, though. A lot better stats than Joe Namath, I'll tell you that. Way better than Joe Namath.
Well, the game was played differently.
Agree. I will agree with that. I will definitely. I give you points for that. Listen, Eli Manning threw for 57,023 yards.
I would vote for Mac. I would vote for him. You don't have to tell me on it.
I might not. I'm putting it out there because I might not, Jack. He got 366 touchdowns to 244 interceptions, 4-time Pro Bowl. Again, famous for that helmet catch, not pass to Manningham along the sideline to beat, the undefeated Patriots, for God's sakes. I mean, that was it. The helmet catch is one of the most famous catches ever made. And that scramble Eli Manning did to get out of that pocket, being grabbed at and everything standing out. It was unbelievable.
Oh, he's a Hall of Fame without question, but you're asking me first ballot.
I don't know.
First ballot makes it seem like a guy's a slam dunk. There's no doubt about it. Listen, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Dan Marino, John Elway.
Yes.
Those were slam dunk first ballot Hall of Famers. Eli Manning's a Hall of Famer. If he has to wait for second, third year, that would be fine as well.
I agree.
He shouldn't have to wait that long. But some people are questioning whether he should be in the Hall altogether.
Well,
and you never know the way these things linger on. I mean, people are going to judge him a little more critically because he's a quarterback, Mac.
Well, I think that's ridiculous that he never gets in. And I think you said the first thing that you said, Jack, is 100% right. Who's he going in against? I mean, who are the inductees that are going in? If the inductees are strong, Eli doesn't get in the first ballot. If they're not strong, he might get in first ballot.
They're usually not so strong where he should be kept out. The one thing that Eli has going for him is the winning of 2 Super Bowls. If they didn't win any Super Bowls, Eli, he wouldn't be going in the Hall of Fame, even though he's had an Iron Man streak of playing a lot of years, or he'd have to wait a lot of years to go. Philip Rivers is going to be a Hall of Famer. There's a good chance Philip Rivers is going to get in the first ballot. He might not.
I'll tell you the truth, Jack.
Philip Rivers was a little better quarterback than Eli over his career.
No, he wasn't. Philip Rivers is to me is a maybe. He's close. I don't know if he gets it. That's the one quarterback from that class. I don't know if he gets it.
he'll get in ultimately, Philip Rivers. He might get in the first year. It might take him a few years. I don't know. But he's going to get in. But what he has working against him, he never went to a Super Bowl.
Right.
That's
exactly.
what he has working against him. What Eli has working for him are the 2 Super Bowl wins.
Yes, I agree, Jack. I agree. Well, folks, thanks for tuning in. And thanks to Keith Angle. He's up right after us on the Roku channel. Thanks for the comments, guys. Love you coming in and throwing your comments at us. Stay with Roku all day, every day. Sports, guys. If you like live podcasts, live shows, and some other football stuff thrown in there, VODs, check us out. Have a great day, folks.